What's going on, everybody? Anthony Campbell here, your coach and host of the Be Battle Ready podcast. And today's battle is, I feel like a copycat. So let's lock and load and dive into today's daily battle.
Welcome to the Be Battle Ready podcast, where we take a deep dive into what it takes to be battle ready in your lifestyle so that you can go to war on your life and the marketplace and win.
All right, so let's dive into today. Today's topic is, I feel like a copycat. You might be asking, like, what do you mean, like, you feel like a copycat? Okay, so, in the last episode, I shared that, I've been heavily influenced about how to operate on a daily basis, how to live, how to think, by Wake Up Warrior. I've had I've read books, not just their books, but like, not just them, but other programs, other things, other influences and all that. And, look, I share that with you just to put that out there, right? That's number one. So, I also share that with you because I realized that for the longest time, like, I fought modeling like other people. Even though I would like pay for shit and I would hire coaches and I would do this stuff or I would like see stuff and I would be like, oh, that's so great, I'm gonna do that. And then I would get this story that I'd feel like a copycat. That I'd feel like, this story of like, that I'd feel guilty, I'd feel shameful, and I'd feel like a copycat. And then I would stop. I would stop doing the thing that the action that I was inspired to do it, right? And there's a number of different layers, but I want to talk today about this part because I realized just recently that by holding on to that piece, right? Holding on to like that story, allow that story to dictate what I was doing, like stopping me from taking the action. I actually like did a disservice to myself. And it was actually by being willing to submit to just fucking model out there, I did a disservice to myself. And part of the story was that, and the fear was that I was going to be a copycat, that part of me would critically call myself copycat. Other part of that was to lose my own voice and my own self. And I was holding on to that so hard, right? And I think that was the biggest part. Like, I didn't want to lose myself. I didn't want to lose, like, my identity. I didn't want to lose, like, my divine inspiration, all that stuff. But by fighting that and not modeling, right? And there's a difference between modeling and copycat, like complete plagiarism, right? There's, we see it in, we see how to properly, model or use people's content in books. We were taught this growing up in school, how to work site things, how to provide reports and all that stuff. But when it comes to like the creation of your own thing, right? When we get into, especially in social media, into content creation, into all that other stuff, like it's easy to feel like you're copying somebody, right? And there's this ego thing of too. It's like, you're not willing to submit. And, that was the third piece of it, is not willing to submit. And I think more than anything, that has been one of the bigger things, the biggest core root of it, right? If you look at the layers, I didn't want to feel like I was copying. I didn't want to have this critical thing where I was judging myself about copying. I don't want to sound, and then I didn't want to, sound like somebody else or lose my identity or hold on by doing this, I'm going to lose my identity. And there's some lower level stuff of like putting yourself out there, but those of you guys know me, I don't know, I'm fucking getting close to 100 of these episodes. I mean, I'm obviously putting myself out there, but at the core of it is this fundamental fear and thing that, is basically submitting, right? Submitting to being led. And, if 2 years ago when I first started this coaching journey, I had this revelation of that success is in submission. And part of the course of this is like this last 2 years, I have these topics, right? And too many times, like I shared it and I didn't reflect upon it too much. So that's a side note. But inside of that, right, in all this other stuff, like, but it was submission, right? And where did the core of that come, right? Where did the fear, where did the resistance to submission come from? Where did the absolute battle, like, to submit? And what am I not, like, what am I not willing to submit to? I don't know why I got in front of you, brother. Sorry. So where did that, what am I fighting, to submit and allow to be led? And for me, in these last couple episodes, I know I've been kind of going down into the personal journey and stuff, but I feel it's relevant and it's important to you. And it's important to you because you're going to, there's somebody out there that's going to, you might be it. You might have gone through, might be experiencing these things, or you might be in the thick of it. You might be trying to question it, and it might help you to give you context, right? To the, context to like where you're currently at. Maybe it might help you, right? Give you some, awareness around shit. So that's why I'm sharing with you, Any of you guys saying any negative things, you can go fuck yourself. Or you can jump on like a FaceTime with me and we can have a conversation. So it's simple. You guys are going to be dicks. So, but here it is. Why was I resisting this submission, right? To allow myself to be led. And it came down to the patterns and the shit that I experienced, over my life, right? Fucking, especially with, dealing with father figures or male role models or anything like that, right? And I was resistant. I've always been resistant, to getting too wrapped up into like a cultish type of environment. Let's call it that. Okay. So like when it came down to growing up in the Southern Baptist Christian school, right? They had beliefs. They tried to, they had judgments. They had all this other shit of how you should live. There was a lot, for me, there was a lot of guilt and shame. There was a lot of misalignment. There was a lot of shit that didn't make sense. And I resisted it. And I appreciate that I resisted it. Like, there's some good shit that happened to it, right? And I think it is a strength that I was able to resist it because it allowed me to be more aware and more open-minded to what's truly out there and what is the meaning of life? What are all these religions talking about? Different context, different story, but it was an asset for me. But at the same time, it became a debilitating, to a point, piece of me. So, with that is, I resisted. Like I remember going to a T. Harv Eker seminar, right? And they're getting all fucking pumped up. They're doing all this other stuff, and I fucking walked out because, like, I knew that there was manipulation going on, right? And maybe it was good. Maybe it was for a good thing, right? There's a lot of manipulation going on. I didn't fucking like it, and I got out of there, right? Was it the right decision? Maybe, right? But there's something at the fundamental belief that, you know, I am viscerally revolted by anything that's cultish. And it served me and it hasn't served me, right? But that also tied into not resisting being led. And maybe this is, you know, just how we were, you know, my mom's the same way. No one fucking leads my mom. And, you know, she's had, you know, she raised me, spent the most time with her, you know, and she's very opinionated, very everything else, tell everybody what to do. So, you know, there's some layers there, but at the end of the day, it came down to a trust. And this is why I share with you, because you can have awareness around this and ask yourself the question, why am I resisting being led? Right? And the craziest thing about that, you know, I switched my major and graduated a degree in leadership and organizational studies. And one of the things was like this concept around leadership and followership, right? Great leaders know how to follow, right? Because they can be empathetically, right? Empathetically, they understand what's going on, right? Some leaders do great shit, but they're assholes. They're fucking destructive, right? But, you know, and we've seen, you know, and it's very easy to be an authoritarian asshole leader and create big shit, right? And make shit happen, but you leave a path of destruction in the way. But it's harder to be a empathetic, you know, leader that knows how to follow, but also how to lead. And then also, because they can understand what it is to lead, to follow. They know both sides of it. So I think at the core fundamental thing is it came to trust. A trust in myself, a trust in my higher self, a trust in my creator. Broken trust over the years with people that were there to lead me. And, you know, it didn't matter how hard I fucking fought it and tried to be my own, like, oh, I'm gonna figure it out on my own. I'm gonna stand on my own. I'm gonna fucking overcome this by like fighting it. But the way that I overcame it was saying, fuck it, I'm just gonna fucking submit. I fucking submit, and you are able to be led, and you ultimately be led by your higher self and your creator. So that's where that is. So I just want to provide that for you, you know, give you that context. So, you know, I'd love to know where you're at with this. If you're resisting struggle, if you're resisting like, you're resisting being led, and you feel like, here's the thing, part of it's your ego too. It's your ego protecting you a little bit, but I might not be done. So, you know, you might think that you have to figure it out on your own. You have to do it yourself. You have to, whatever it might be. And in that, and the way to overcome that is really get clear on why it's happening, what caused it, you know, and eventually just submit to your higher self. Whatever you want to call that, right? I'm thinking that, you know, there's our higher self and then there's our creator. And, you know, that's one of the revelations, side note, I got when my dad passed away. No prior teachings, nothing. There's our higher self and our creator. So I'm going to wrap up for here. I'd love to hear where you're at with this. If, you know, you need any support, you need any other further context on this, you need to have a conversation about it, go ahead and reach out, find me on Facebook, all that other stuff. And, you know, I look forward to supporting you, and I'll talk to you soon.
This concludes another episode of the Be Battle Ready podcast. If you're looking to put it all together across all the areas of your life and be battle ready, come get connected with powerful leaders in our Be Battle Ready Facebook group, where we will be dropping new battles to win each day. Leaders in our Be Battle Ready Facebook group, where we will be dropping new battles to win each day.